Hey guys, it's the test lead, and this is part 3 of the Vernon Scott interview. You can watch part 2 and part 1 after this, and there'll be a link below in the description box. If you would like to share your software testing experiences and journey, please email me at thetestinglead@gmail.com. And most importantly, don't forget to learn something new today. Now back to the video. Contact you for any questions or any tips. Can I use your email or anything like that?
I don't exactly have a business one yet, but I do have I do have a bunch of emails. If you grew up in the early 2000s, you got like 9 of them. I do have one that I do get a lot of people sending questions to, because I do have people from the boot camp reach back out to me. It is Scott, SCOTT, the number 1 VT@gmail.com. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Also, my mentor has told me if anybody needs coaching sessions, I'm open to 30-minute coaching sessions. I know a lot of people have a lot of questions, and they have a lot of, they need direction and guidance. So a great guy that I follow, you know who I'm talking about, Anton Daniels, that's big bro. He gave me the idea that you got to start giving back to the people. I'm not looking for anything. I'm just looking to bolster myself and start pointing people in the right direction. I won't say that I got all of the time in the world. I am a father of a soon-to-be 1-year-old, and I do have a lot of work, and I do a lot of stuff like this, interviews and things like this on the side. But I will find time. I will schedule time for people to do 30-minute coaching calls, so I can point you in the right direction. If you need advice about boot camps, if you need advice about getting into testing, I want to be that point, that source and point, and be able to help people.
And this is why I bring people like this onto my channel, so you're not just getting my perspective. Because I may have a limited point of view, but the more point of views you get, the more information you get, the more you have to work with.
Absolutely. And even last time when we talked, I think we tied your because you're a referee, right?
Yes.
We made that great analogy, and this is something that I want to leave everybody with, because this goes back to the immersion point. The testing lead is a referee for basketball in his free time, and we made the analogy, the correlation between what it's like being a referee and what it's like being in quality. And I think the best thing about that is that if you want to understand how we got to that point, is that in order to do quality for these companies, you have to know a lot about software. You have to know a lot about coding and the processes and stuff. And specifically, when you're on those teams, you are like a referee. You have to know how that code is working on a technical level, and also how it's working on a website, because you're the person that mitigates between getting that code from just being on somebody's local machine to being in production. So you have to referee that entire migration from code base to website. So it's sometimes you're gonna have to say flag on the play, time's out. That that's not hitting the right API endpoint. We gotta roll back to dev. Or you might get all the way to stage and you might have to say, yo, pause. It's not integrating right. We got to roll all the way back to that person's local machine. As a quality tester, as a quality assurance analyst, as a quality assurance engineer, you are that referee where you're calling every play. You have to see every play that goes on with that software that you're responsible for at that time. Because people are going to come to you, just like you see everybody come to those referees on those crucial calls in all of our favorite games. And I know they done came to you before. I know you done been in those situations where you had to make some real tough calls where you was about to get booed, or somebody's parents was about to be like, you did my baby wrong. But that's what it's like being in quality. Like, you can see your developers working hard, and you can see them They put in a lot of work, and you hate to be the guy to be like, yo, it's not working though.
Yeah.
We got to roll it back, and you guys got to fix it. Or they might have tried to fix something 5 times, and they look visibly frustrated. You got to be the guy to be like, six, lucky number 6. But you got to. It's a mindset. So if you ever want to liken if you want to attribute what it's like being in quality, go look at all of those referees in every sport that you like, that you have an interest in. You know 2 things about that referee right off the bat. One, they have to have an in-depth knowledge of the sport. That means that they have to know everything that's going on that court. And then they have to have an in-depth knowledge of the rules, which is different than having an in-depth knowledge of the sport. Combine those 2, and now you can see how 2 teams play something out perfectly. In quality, you have to have a deep knowledge of code, and you have to have a deep knowledge of quality and understand how to achieve the best quality in order to see a project go from code-based to production, to being fully stood up. And it doesn't have to be something that's website facing. It can be something on the back end, standing up a new framework, put it in a new API layer, vendor integration points, things like that. Seeing that stuff go from just being talked about in documentation to being, oh, yo, it's functioning, and now we've relieved X amount of cost to our main database. So now we have, now we're using less server space. Now we're not hitting that server so much. So we're saving money overall. That's the type of stuff you have to think about in quality. Like, yeah, I see it right now, but where does it go in the whole scheme of things? And how do I make sure it safely plays out all the way up into that point? So, I mean, for you to be in quality and for you to be a referee, you really are living. You are about this life, sir.
It's about providing the best product for the end users at the end of the day. With refereeing, the best product of that sport. With quality, the best product for our customers.
Same thing. Got to be the same thing. And that's just one of those things. So in coaching calls, super important, and this is the shameless plug. Correlating your current skills to the skills that you aspire to is something that's really important. Because whatever you got now, and I think that's one of the things that you'll learn for people taking boot camps, whatever soft skills you have now, transfer over in ways that you don't even know. I am a competitive fighting game player. So I've played fighting games on tournament circuits across the United States for a decade now.
Wow.
I used that to get my first job. As a manual tester, I kid you not. And the way I did it is when they asked, why do I think I will be a good fit for this job as a manual tester? I said, as a tester, you have to test all of the various different ways something works and how it doesn't work. As a competitive fighting game player, I've had to learn and master my character, not just all of his movesets, but how it interacts with every other character. Because when I compete, I not only have to know my moveset, I have to know my opponent's moveset as well. Because if I'm not privy to their moveset, then that means that I'm at a disadvantage. So I've dedicated hours and days of my life to perfect not only me using my character, but knowing the moveset and timing and frame data of other characters so I can better compete against them.
Quick break. If you're enjoying the video so far, please leave a like so I know you like this type of content. Also, please subscribe to my free email list on my website. I plan to come out with some courses as well as books very soon, and I want you to be the first to know. By subscribing for free, you'll get a notification when those are coming out. Now back to the video.
So now I know more than more than one way to win against any given character. Isn't that similar to writing test cases? Isn't that similar to going through test strategy and going through test scenarios? Blew them away. Got the first job. But that is a perfect example of how you have to take hobbies. The test lead is a referee. I play fighting games. Our interests still correlate to our careers. I was in sales before, troubleshooting things. That was a soft skill I learned in retail. It's here. But also, another important thing for all of my people in retail, customer service transfers. Because you're always gonna have a client. Somebody needs that software. Somebody wants that software working. That's your customer. That's your client.
Perfect. This is why you need your YouTube channel. I'm trying to push you. Even if
Man, look,
the certifications in the beginning, you can build on that.
Yeah, Anton, he said it nicely, like he was talking to the group. But I knew when he said what he said, I was like, oh, yeah, that was everybody. But somebody in this room need to definitely hear this for real. Okay, for real. So yeah, it's happening. I got a kid that's about to turn 1 in like 30 days.
Congrats on that, first off.
Thank you. So like, it's just been a hectic first year, but trust me, it's coming. With things like this, it's just nothing but motivation to get out there more. Like I said, I'm on his channel. I've been over here. I've been on Bernard Riley's channel before. So I have a foundation to get out there. Like, oh, people have seen me places, so people know who I am. So once I throw my channel up, aggregating people won't be a problem.
Yeah, and as you said, like, people asking you questions. Once you have a platform, it's magnified. Like, I feel bad now because I have comments that I'm weeks behind in. I have emails that I'm behind in. And that's why I stopped getting on my social media on my regular channel, because I was getting DMs. I'm like, damn, I don't have time to answer all of these. But if you have more people to go to, you can help me out.
Yeah, and that's what I started looking at it like. I'm like, yo, because after trying to schedule this, I'm like, he got a busy schedule. He going to school, refereeing. I'm a dad. I'm like, wait. I'm like, hey, yo, he overwhelmed. Because I'm answering questions. I started answering the questions in the comments. And I'm like, yo, let me get to these questions because I don't want you to think that I'm like, I just showed them like, haha, I have flexed on you all. And I'm just going to walk away. It's just like, people, get into this. Because another thing is like, if you can build an army of QA people, that's building your own QA consultancy firm. You got people that followed you from YouTube, and it's like, yo, calling all my QAs, it's finally time. I'm about to start my own firm. I need, for all of those people that's been following me for years or whatever, now it's time to work with me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I found a whole little plan for it. I got a whole little plan for it.
I'm gonna try to set up a community, like a Discord or something eventually, whether it's free or it's like $1 to get the bots out of there. I'll figure it out, but there's just so many avenues with this. So once again, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day, being on the channel, giving your feedback on your experiences. Any closing remarks for you?
I always like to tell people at this point in time, coding is the digital construction of our physical world. And as we continue to evolve, as we change policies, as we progress as a human species, as capitalists, as business people, our technology constantly needs to be a reflection of that. It's gonna be a reflection of what we do. So it's always gonna be jobs in tech. More specifically, it's always gonna be jobs in quality. We gotta test this stuff. Join us in this journey and making sure that we deliver quality technology to not just clients, but to people overall.
Thanks again. So have a good night, and thanks for everything.
It's been a great time. I appreciate it, Test Lead. It's been great. I can't wait to do this again. It's been dope.